everybody, welcome to the PVD Horror Podcast. My name is Dave. I'm joined here today with John Gulager, who has just released, or will be releasing, I'm so sorry, a film starring Danny Trejo, the legend, called Seven Cemeteries. And he is here with us to talk about that film and hopefully a few other things, because I have a few things I want to chat with John about. But John, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I
So
am here.
you
I am
are
here for
here.
you, and you only.
For just me. I feel so honored. So, John, I was looking through your filmography and I noticed that you might be connected to a previous guest we had on. Um,
There are no bad starts.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the PVD Horror Podcast. My name is Dave. I am joined here today with John Gulager, who is going to discuss with us the film Seven Cemeteries, which is going to be releasing on October 11th in theaters, on digital and demand, and it stars the legendary Danny Trejo. John, thank you for joining me.
Hello, hello. I am here for you.
You are. And John, when I was looking through your filmography, I noticed something very interesting and I wanted to chat with you for a second about it. I think you might have be friendly, or I hope you're still friendly with someone with the previous guest that we had on here, Marcus Dunstan.
Oh, Marcus, of course.
Yes. So he came on to discuss a recent film somewhat like a couple months ago. And I was telling him how much I love the Feast movies. And you directed those Feast movies.
I did. I did. Well, um, he and his writing partner Patrick Melton, they wrote Feast, and it was a crazy. The way we all came together was a crazy thing because it was like a contest.
Yeah, the Project Greenlight,
Project
right?
Greenland,
Yeah,
and we all won. So they won the writers, and I won the director, and we ended up lifelong friends
that's awesome.
after
That
that.
is awesome. So yeah, I think that though that movie, the original Feast movie, came out at such like an interesting time, because horror comedy was kind of something I think people were looking for at that time, and it really did hit a certain community of people. And I just remember that just loving that movie and sharing it with so many friends. But you also directed Piranha 3 Double D.
Yes,
So you are in some ways very cemented in the horror comedy genre.
I don't know how. It just kind of, I slipped on that banana peel, and went through that door, because I'm like up till then, Mr. Serious, everything, I I don't know if you know of an old movie called Sullivan's Travels,
Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
Joel McRae and everything. But he plays this movie director that does these comedies, but he wants to direct a movie about, the soul of man and all
Yeah.
this kind of stuff. And he's going to go off on the road to find out what the common man and his struggles, and he ends up going like shit, man, I gotta make comedies.
Yeah.
That's what helps these guys and gals. So I feel like I'm that guy in a way,
Yeah.
because I always pictured myself doing these ultra, movies, and here I am,
Yeah. There's
I do
absolutely nothing
too.
wrong with that journey because
I love all these movies too,
yeah.
horror movies. I love just about everything,
Okay.
especially as I get older. It's like music.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember when well, you're young, but you hate everything basically except that one thing that
Right.
that resonates with you, and it's like I hated the Carpenters. Okay, I love the Carpenters now.
Yeah.
Would I ever thought that would be the case? No. They were kind of like the enemy,
Sure.
and yet now it's like imbued with this nostalgia and stuff, that I just yeah.
So what did you hate film wise when you were younger?
Well, love stories, obviously. It's never gonna kiss a girl, and you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
never gonna get married. so I wasn't really into that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Now, I tried to put one into this movie even though it's a little creepy just when you
Right.
think it through.
Yeah.
But you know, but that said, now I see different levels of these kind of stories, but I've always loved, horror. I've always loved crime,
Yeah.
uh, thrillers, Ipcris file, whatever, that kind of stuff. Again, with the crazy film angles and everything I love.
Yeah.
But uh, I was telling someone the other day, you know, uh, the Terror from Beyond Space, you know, it's probably the scariest movie I'd ever seen on late night TV.
Yeah.
It was so stupid, but to me, totally real. you know, not a
Well,
man.
it's funny how some things can just resonate with you, and other people will
Yeah,
find them like not scary at all. Like there's certain themes that maybe like chill certain people, and other people that have no effect at all.
yeah. Well, like my dreams, I think it's more my problem is that my wife dreams about flying and all this kind of. Mine are all about like falling and drowning and
Yeah. Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Insecurities.
Yep.
Just they're all basically nightmares. Uh, but
Hey, if we had another hour, I would do some dream analysis stuff because I find that stuff fascinating. Like the connections you can make from dreams is just wild. But
yeah.
another time. um,
I woke up the other day screaming at Brad Pitt. Uh, so there you go. I don't know what it was about,
yeah.
now, but yeah.
So let me ask you, this is something that, we find to be kind of interesting. What are your horror origins? Like what was your first maybe like, what was the first thing that you saw that was horror related that kind of stuck with you?
Well, my dad would bring movies home from a thing called Films Incorporated or from Janus Films, which now is the highfalutin channel
Okay.
on cable. But so he would bring home The Creature from the Black Lagoon. So that was my big favorite
Yeah.
and then eventually you know he would even smuggle out Disney films. Like I refused to watch Snow White. I was like having my fifth birthday or something. He had smuggled this out of Disney. Uh, you know, and but we are in 16 millimeter because they were for the military. And he was playing it, but slowly but surely I came in and watched it. It was a great, so The
Yeah.
Witch, really scary, really
It's
scary
it
stuff.
is it is really dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and but it was because I couldn't get King Kong versus Godzilla, which was my thing. I
Yeah.
wanted it. I'm so bad at my birthday. Um, now I look back and like, what a great situation, it
Yeah.
was to have this movie. But yeah, I'd watch a lot of so my dad would bring home stuff. He'd bring home like Beauty and the Beast,
Hmm.
the Congo, a lot of foreign films. Um, we would go and he would judge kind of these horror uh, makeup contests, like 24-hour horror film festivals, things like just like
Yeah.
Wolfman Jack. But I see a lot of films there, like Freaks and things that when I was a kid were very esoteric and hard to find because
Hmm.
like today, it's not even like when there was video available. These were all you had to eventually go to theaters, like I could eventually go see Eraserhead and
Sure.
and Eight Flamingos at the midnight show. And this is way before, Rocky Horror made the midnight show. I actually, saw Rocky Horror the day it opened. So
Damn.
I was
Yeah.
that group. Um, but but yeah, as far as it's very difficult to get toys that were horror related. I
Hmm.
had some Mummy and Creature from the Black Lagoon and Dracula and Frankenstein. These little plastic things, and I would just play with those forever. And
Yeah.
but it wasn't like today. I mean, I tried to buy a skeleton from India, because they didn't have. I mean, I'm looking at your shelf back there.
Yeah,
I go to the store now. I go to Home Depot and they have like a 40-foot skeleton. I'm like,
sure.
they did not have anything like
Right.
this. When I was growing up, it was just you had to work so hard to get
It
anything like that.
it's good and bad. I mean, the more like we have more access to it, so it's cool that we can, find the things we like, but I think it's like we get oversaturated with it and we lose some of the appreciation for it that you would have if it was harder to get.
Well, which is like the internet and you
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
uh, I had to work so hard when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
Sneak over into the magazine section.
Right, right. Kids will
Get,
never understand those struggles.
get out of there.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, oh,
So
anyway.
I love hearing this because it sounds like a lot of your horror origins are kind of based in like creature features, some of the
Yeah,
classics. And that totally makes sense in the realm of like, later you're attached to
I'm
Feast,
older.
which
I'm
yeah.
older, so these were all, or I'd go down to the Reseda Theater and want to like see Dr. Five, so they bought an old Dr.
Oh
Five.
yeah. Oh yeah.
That era of like 70s horror
Sure.
also, big impression. Yeah, it's just, yeah, when I was a kid, it was all horror, because because it didn't have the kissing and all that stuff
Yeah. Yep.
necessarily. And
Absolutely.
it just and it made me a little different than the other kids, and stuff
Sure.
like that, but I played army and all that kind of thing, still. you know.
So let me ask you about Seven Cemeteries. But before I ask you any questions about it, could you just give our listeners a brief summary of what the film is about?
Well, okay, so um it's very, very loosely based on, Seven Samurai, and which eventually led to the Magnificent Seven, an American Western version.
Yeah.
And so this is very loosely based on that. In that, and then I added in the guy gets out of prison because I love that trope too. So the guy gets out of prison, kind of like The Getaway, which we use one of the lenses from the original Getaway with Steve McQueen on this film, uh, and he gets dragged into a situation where he's going to help this woman, maybe fight the bad guys,
Mhm.
off of her farm. But it's just him alone. At first he's like, yeah, just give him the farm, man. And but then one thing leads to another, and he ends up going to round up some of his friends, some of his enemies, and just some people he admired to maybe come back and help defend this farm. Unfortunately or fortunately, all those people are dead. But that's the basis for
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. So I have to ask, Danny Trejo is like our main guy. And I read this thing recently about him, something along the lines of him having like the most on-screen kills or something like that. Like it's was he in mind when this story was, being thought up?
Yes.
Because you co-wrote and directed.
No, he's the first thing. He's literally the first thing in this project to make a movie with Danny Trejo.
Oh, okay.
So that was the very first thing.
Yeah.
And then the other stuff kind of fell into place. I mean, there were iterations, of maybe it's all in Spanish, or maybe all the zombies, well, living impaired,
Yeah.
are all luchadors. I don't know. Um, and but it eventually, things take shape, and some things stay in, some things stay out, and it
Yeah.
became what it became. And also the casting, involves some of that, and what the different actors bring to the parts. Like, I think we got a really good villain,
Yeah.
and Sal Lopez and Ephraim, and everybody brings something with them. You know,
Absolutely.
this is the magic of actors. I mean, you could write dialogue, and Joel Swanson was the writer of this. You can write dialogue, but it's just when you hear it done, it's kind of magic
Yeah.
that it, even stuff. I worked on a thing where I said, man, if anyone can say this line, they're a genius. Well, luckily, a genius said that line because I was like, oh my God, so good. That's my wife. Uh,
Yeah.
so good. I can't believe it. They could say that line, you know. But
Thi- This film really feels like a mix mash of so many different inspirations. And it's like interesting because as you were talking about like what's even inspired you or got you into film, it sounds like you have just kind of like this eclectic mix mash of different genres that you appreciate. So like you were saying, like luchador, like spaghetti western style. Like there's so many action films, obviously. Um, Zombie films. Like there's so many different styles or inspirations to that kind of come together in Cemeteries. It's really a unique film.
well, when we were doing the writing, a lot of times, uh, I would say, well, you got to put this into the script or something, and Joel would be like, oh, it doesn't. It makes sense. So I go, okay, Joel, I'm sending you some music, and I sent him the Strong from The Good and the Bad and the Ugly,
Yeah.
Ennio Marconi music, and I said, okay, they're on this hill, and they're looking over the farm, and this music is playing. We're sort of pushing in, and now it didn't necessarily turn out exactly like that, but he's like, he called it back, goes, okay, I get it, and so every now and then the music helps me uh, get a feeling across. Which, by the way, the music in this, even though it nods towards you know the westerns and Magnificent Seven, Elmer Bernstein,
Yeah.
anymore. Ilya Shmerov, the composer, he's Czechoslovakian. I thought he did a really good job. I don't know what you thought
Yeah.
on.
No, I agree. I agree.
I
Yeah.
only had a few things. I said, well, put a trumpet in there, man. Uh, that's the good, the bad, the ugly. Uh, and he did, and it was just beautiful. And so I thought that was another good thing about this situation. That yeah, I
Yeah.
thought he I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah. Now, this is such a unique film. Um, and looking behind you at that poster, it's such an eye-catching thing, just seeing Danny Trejo staring at you with a, like the pitchfork thing in his hand, or not a pitchfork, whatever you call that thing.
Well, we put a machete in his hands. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
we can't have a machete anywhere near this set. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's like this has got to be kind of the anti-machete because I love machete.
hmm
But this has got to be that was before he went to prison, and now this is after he gets out.
yeah,
So he's got to be like, I don't want to do that anymore. This
yeah.
is I'm done. I'm okay. Yeah, I'll do it.
Did
One
he
more.
did Danny bring any of his food to set?
We shot in Oklahoma, so no. Although I have his cookbook.
Okay.
Actually, he gave me his cookbook, so I and actually Joel made um something out of it the other day, and I made something, uh, but uh, but yeah, well, I have his cookbook,
That's awesome.
regular book. If it, I don't know if you read it, but he has a book. I can't remember who co-wrote it with him, an actor, but his book is really interesting because of the life he's led
Yeah,
and pretty honest in it. You never know how honest people are and
sure.
how honest they can be, when they're talking about crimes. But it was pretty interesting. The first set he was on, uh, we have this thing called per diem, which is the money you get each day, to eat with and stuff like this. And
Yeah,
there's a guy, usually a PA walks around. And he goes, "There's this guy with a briefcase full of money. We could take him," because like that was his first time on a set, and he was still in the criminal mindset
yeah,
kind of.
yeah, yeah,
And I thought that was so funny. But yeah, he's turned his life around big
yeah.
time.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, he's turned into such like a iconic persona that like is, anybody would know him. So
Yeah,
it's really great. It's really great.
he's got the face, man.
Yeah, he does. He does. So, John, I know you are a busy man and you have a lot of these to do, but I want to thank you for coming on and sharing Seven Cemeteries with us. I just also want to ask you, can you inform our listeners and viewers, is there anywhere people can follow you so they can see upcoming projects, or do you stay off the grid?
Well, this is my dad passed away,
Okay.
so I pretty much got off of everything because I just didn't want to hear anything about
Yeah.
even condolences and stuff.
Yeah.
And every now and then I had to go look at something, but I'm pretty much off. So just IMDb, you know, and I have a Facebook, um I have different things, they're still there. But basically I just don't do it right now.
Yeah.
Too
Yeah.
much of it, you
Well,
know.
John, take all the time you need to get back out there. I'm sure he's
Right.
very proud of you and the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
It's truly inspiring. So thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. Everyone, make sure you check out Seven Cemeteries coming to theaters on digital and on demand October 11th. John, thank you again. And hopefully we see you soon. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Oh.